You've been through a lot this year, and it wasn't for no reason, and I can promise you it's not wasted. And you learned a lot of lessons this year. Lessons that you might have thought that you didn't need to learn. But going into this next year, you need to realize how strong you've become. You have learned lessons and you have become strong. And now you have the ability to do something great, to carry something great that you might have not been able to do a year ago. You've learned a lot through the pain. So are you going to sit in the pain, or are you going to bring something beautiful to life?
The hardest part is the uncertainty that all your sacrifice will be for nothing, that we give up everything now for nothing later. But then you remember the life that you walked away from to pursue your dream, and then you realize that there's no going back. And so you keep going. Everything that you've ever wanted is on the other side of 10 years of uncertainty, rejection, and suffering. It just comes down to wanting what you're after more than you hate all the things that you have to do to get it. And so despite all the hardship that you're going through, you just got to believe with all your f***ing heart that you're going to make it.
The day is cold and dark and dreary. It rains, and the wind is never weary. The vine still clings to the moldering wall, but at every gust the dead leaves fall, and the day is dark and dreary. My life is cold and dark and dreary. It rains, and the wind is never weary. My thoughts still cling to the moldering past, but the hopes of youth fall thick in the blast, and the days are dark and dreary. Be still, sad heart, and cease repining. Behind the clouds is the sun still shining. Thy fate is the common fate of all. Into each life some rain must fall. Some days must be dark and dreary. We live in the past a lot of times. We live in the past without regrets. We live in the past with the regrets of what might have been, but is not. We live in the, and you know, life gets weary, and it seems rainy, and it seems dark and gray in the clouds, and that's all we see. And we need days in real life, we need days where it's chilly, and it's raining, and the things that we had planned to do, we can't do. And the things that we thought were going to happen today aren't going to happen. But we need the rain. But if you have, whether in your life, in nature, if you have just non-stop sunshine, you wind up with a desert. And you wind up, your life is a desert. And everything gets burned up. And into every life, a little rain must fall.
What if the truth was that you're greater than you think, more powerful than you know, more unlimited than you could ever dream? If that was the truth, that you are the creator of your life, you have to start. If you believe that to be the truth, then you have to believe in yourself. And your belief in yourself must be earned. It must be earned. And the only way that we can believe in a future is when we feel the emotion associated with it. And so you're giving your body a taste emotionally of the future. And the stronger the emotion you feel, the more you remember to that future. And you literally are embossing the circuitry for you to believe in it more.
Don't be ashamed of your effort. They can't stand being reminded of the thing they're capable of, but resist actually trying. People will try to put the same limitations on you that they put on themselves. Don't mistake their insecurities for your ceiling.
So desperate to figure out how to convince people that there is no loss in going for it. That, yeah, you might get made fun of and you might have it in your own mind, but trying to figure out how to make people drop that fear, going and building a business for themselves. Nobody wants the rejection. Nobody wants to lose. It's going to lead you to a place where you're not going to win.
Get serious. That's number one. 10 years from now, you will surely become someone. The big question is, who?
You must overcome fear to step into your potential. Understand that fear is not the enemy. It's a sign that you're on the edge of growth. Reframe the way you look at fear. Reframe the way you look at fear. So often, when we feel fear, it makes us stay stuck or resort back. But you need to start viewing fear as an indicator of the direction you need to move, right? Fear is a pulling force from your higher self saying, go that way. The reason you feel fear is because you have to step into the unknown. You have to step into the discomfort, right? You have to step away from the things that are known, from the comfortability of where you're at, right? That's not easy, right? And your ego is gonna do everything in its power to stay comfortable. So it's gonna bring those emotions of fear, but don't view those emotions negatively. Fear is not a negative thing. Fear is a driving force. It's a pulling force to move in that direction. It's a guide. And when you start viewing fear as a guide rather than a hindrance and an enemy, it changes the way you navigate this journey. Come on, man. Changes the way you navigate this journey. George Adair says, everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear.
When people describe the characteristics of winners, here are some of the things they say. They outwork the competition. They are focused. They are resilient. The one I've seen in the best of the best that no one talks about is this. They'd rather be hated for who they truly are than to be loved for what they're not. Think about that.
I just feel so angry all the time. And what if after everything that I've been through, something's gone wrong inside me? What if I'm becoming bad?
I want you to listen to me very carefully, Harry. You're not a bad person. You're a very good person who bad things have happened to. You understand? Besides, the world isn't split into good people and Death Eaters. We've all got both light and dark inside us. What matters is the part we choose to act on. That's who we really are.
Blaming the world will not heal the wounds within. And I know that the world has given you these wounds. And I understand anger, and I don't think anger is a bad thing. You have to take the responsibility out of the world's hands and put it into your hands.
At some point, you gotta decide for yourself who you wanna be. Can't let nobody make that decision for you.
When we were kids, my mom hung a poster over our bed. It had a picture of a bumblebee, and under the picture, the caption read, "According to all aerodynamic laws, the bumblebee cannot fly because its body weight is not in the right proportion to its wingspan. But ignoring these laws, the bee flies anyway."
I have run every single morning of my life since I was 17, and my God, have there been a lot of mornings that have meant a lot more to me than just a run. If I'm honest, I define the last 6.5 years by loneliness and misunderstanding, but through every bit of that pain, I never once skipped a beat in being there for myself. People wonder why self-hatred and doubt is completely absent from my life. And it's because on the hundreds of days where I thought I couldn't take it anymore, when I felt like either my body or my soul was completely broken, I picked myself up and proved it wrong once again. So I don't know if my life is for everyone, but if you want to know how to love yourself, I sure have found a way.
Be careful what greatness brings you. But let me tell you, once you get a taste of it, you'll never go back. I love individuals that talk about they have a certain lifestyle, they have a certain things to do. Oh, I don't need all this. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Trust me. But you get used to certain things. And when it goes away, you're like, yeah, this don't feel right. It's easy to say that until you're put into that situation.
Don't get overwhelmed when life is like a bunch of crazy wild horses out there in the big pasture and you can't catch the herd. You can't catch life. Stop focusing on catching life, on getting a handle on life. All right, start focusing on one aspect of it and get a handle on that. And usually that's you. Usually that's you. And then if you get a handle on you, then you can start the next one, whatever it may be. Okay?
To get anywhere in life, you have to work extremely hard and you have to be disciplined. If you wanted to be a great piano player, there's no drug you can take, there's no self-help book, there's no guru. You got to spend 5 years, 10 years learning it until it becomes something that's second nature. There are no shortcuts. But if you learn that from an early age, like 10 years old or whatever, you see after a few years that an incredible pleasure happens, where now you have mastery of this piano and you can play things you could never play before. Suddenly the whole thing opens up, this whole new universe. And that's the paradigm for everything meaningful in life. If you learn something well, if you learn a craft and you master it, it can bring you a far greater pleasure than any kind of drug or any kind of going out to a party or socializing. But you have to be patient and you have to not be afraid of boredom and you have to not be afraid of the effort.
But I know now I gotta work the system harder than it's working me. That's what you gotta do. The system is designed to swallow you whole. You gotta find out what you do better than anybody else and rock that. So what you gonna do? How you gonna leave your mark?
I'm realizing that if you don't want to repeat the past, the only way is to be present. I think that a lot of us get caught up in the certain loops of our past or the certain things that identify us with our past versions of ourselves. And I think if we want to become something new, if we want to change for the better, it's about instilling that into the now.
Focus on taking the first step. You know, when you get so caught up in where you want to be and how far away it seems, sometimes you could quit before you even get started. You know, so whether that's making changes within yourself, whether that's letting go, whether that's becoming the best version of yourself, understand that all of those things take time. All of those things take a process. They don't happen overnight. But the only way you'll be able to get there is from your willingness to be able to figure it out. Your willingness to go through the journey. Your determination to, you know, understand that on the other side of all your hard work, all your effort, all the, you know, mistakes, challenges and hurdles you might have to overcome, is that better that you're looking for. You know, sometimes you don't realize how strong you really are and how much you're really capable of until you start taking the steps to actually find out.